Today is kind of a big day for the Haunted Hippie channel because I will be exposing myself. Oh, don't even sit there and act all holier than thou. Don't act like every classic horror movie that you saw at 12 years old, you immediately were like, oh yeah, I understand why this is historically relevant. I can see you there with that smug look on your face. Don't even try with me. We all have watched a classic horror film and not really understood the hype the first time around. So that's what I'm here to talk about today. Okay, if you're new here, I am the Antichrist. I am Satan's favorite daughter. You may click subscribe to join my cult. Also click the like button and the notification bell that way you never miss the next video, because I am always getting up to weird hijinks on this channel talking about horror movies. So if that sounds good to you, then obviously stick around. Today I am essentially continuing my series of were these horror movies good or was I 12? But today the question is, were these horror movies bad or was my frontal lobe underdeveloped? I was gonna make that the title of today's video, but then I kind of thought that it was too long and I was like, wait, this definitely goes with the other series that I was doing. So were these horror movies bad or was I 12? Being that this is a horror channel, you might be shocked, nay, concerned at the amount of classic horror that I didn't really like the first go around. But if you're feeling dismayed by that, then perhaps catch up with the other installments of this series first, because fret not, there is plenty of classic horror that I loved straight out the gate. We're gonna kick things off with a big one today. George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. I first watched this September 15th of 2021, so no, I wasn't 12, I was 22, but the frontal lobe wasn't developed, and also how did I make it to the age of 22 without ever watching this movie? That can't be right. I don't know if that's right. That was the first time that I logged it on Letterboxd and I didn't use the rewatch function, so this could be true, but I only give it 3 stars and I just said sad. For a movie with an average rating of 4 stars and something that is so beloved, considered like the OG zombie film, I remember thinking that it was really boring and then it just kind of put me in a bad mood, with intention obviously, and I have revisited it since, and with this ultimate iconic classic, what'll it be? Was my frontal lobe just obviously underdeveloped? I actually think it's a little bit of both. I rewatched the movie about a year and a half ago and I still found it very slow paced. Barbara really grates on my nerves. It's just not a favorite. Bumped the rating up to 3.5 stars. I don't know. I do hope eventually that it will do more for me, but as it stands right now, I much prefer the Vincent Price movie, The Last Man on Earth. It's almost the exact same movie, it just has Vincent Price, so for me that automatically makes it better. There also is a little bit more of like a scientific subplot going on. That's just more my speed, but I at least now have more appreciation for Night of the Living Dead. Next up we have The Omen. Dun dun dun. The first time I watched the movie, I gave it 2 stars. Alright, I love Gregory Peck, but I just was so bored by the pacing of this film. For the longest time, I just didn't really understand the atmosphere of 70s horror. I grew up loving Jaws, and yet the tension building of other 70s films, something was just off for me. But last year when the first Omen came out, I revisited the original The Omen, and my brain was underdeveloped. I really like the movie. I don't consider it a favorite at this point, but I do feel like it is a movie that I'm gonna like more and more with every viewing. Plus, being the Antichrist, I just relate. Next up we have Carrie. This one I feel like is so obvious. I want to say that the first time I watched it, I must have been bored, but I didn't list out all the reasons why I didn't like something on Letterboxd, so I don't know. I was also 22 years old when I finally watched Carrie for the first time. That is so insane to me. I just can't get over the fact that I gave it 1.5 stars on Letterboxd. But at that time, when you're in your early 20s or even your late teens as a woman, you're like vaguely aware of misogyny growing up because the teachers are always like, all right, I need a big strong boy to help me carry the chairs, and your little mind is like, well, that's bullshit. Like, I can carry a chair. What are you talking about? But then as you get older and you explore more classic cinema and stuff, I think I also was like rejecting Brian De Palma's filmmaking and like the shower scene, because that is the initial instinct. There's definitely a denial stage of accepting your place in the social hierarchy, and so I definitely also was in that zone. But mostly I'm pretty sure that I remember thinking the movie was boring. Like, I just couldn't do it with the pacing. And don't come for me because, spoiler alert, my opinions have completely changed, but I couldn't get on board with Piper Laurie's acting. I just thought that that whole concept was like ridiculous, but I've learned learn so much more about religious fanaticism. Was Carrie bad or was I 12? I was 12. I mean, I was 22, but I was 12. Next up, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And god damn it, I was not on Letterboxd yet the first time that I watched that movie, but I watched it, I want to say when I was 20. It was around, or maybe I had freshly turned 21, because my reviews of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that was one of the first series that I did on my channel. I think I started with Halloween and Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, and then I moved on to like Child's Play and TCM. That was all within the first year of my channel, I'm pretty sure. And don't even think about going back and watching those 5-year-old videos. I will track you down. I will hunt you. I'm trained to kill. So if you want my full thoughts, maybe I should react to some of those videos someday. I just really don't want to. Whatever positives I gave it at the time, I can tell you that I know I didn't think it was all that. I think that I was overwhelmed by the repetitious nature of Sally's screaming. I know that I didn't understand the vibes of the movie, okay? I didn't understand why they kept the hitchhiker in their car for so long. Like, I just had too many logical questions about it, but that's what happens when you're in the middle of film school. You can't just sink in and enjoy. You gotta question like, oh my god, how like horrendously did they place that lav mic? Now, was Texas Chainsaw Massacre actually bad or was I 12? I think it's a little bit of both. Not that the movie is actually bad and I have so much reverence for it. It's just not for me. Like, I give the movie a 3.5 star rating. I will continue to revisit it. It's a movie that I mostly enjoy revisiting. For whatever reason though, when I rewatched it in October of 2021, I gave it 4 stars. I guess I really enjoyed myself at that point. But then when I rewatched it in 2023, I only gave it 3.5. It has been 2.5 years since I've watched the text. Oh my god. I've never watched the movie with a fully developed frontal lobe. That's crazy. I guess I'm a fraud. Maybe I shouldn't have included it in today's video, but damn, I thought it had been more recent since I rewatched it. That's my bad. I'm sure now that more time has passed, my rating would probably jump back up to 4 stars, maybe even higher. But yeah, a little bit of both just because the nature of the movie, it's not entirely for me. Like, I'm not really a Hills Have Eyes, Last House on the Left, TCM kind of gal. Next up, I thought that I would speak about John Carpenter's Halloween today. You guys are not gonna be happy with me when I tell you how I first watched this film. I have told the story before, but I don't remember if it was like in passing on a live stream or I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you where I first talked about it, so we're doing it again. When I was in college, it was the very beginning of sophomore year, David Gordon Green's Halloween 2018 was coming out, and I was pretty stoked for it. At that point in my life, I was not an avid theater goer for horror, but I caught all the biggest hits. But I thought, oh, this is a direct sequel to the original film. I guess I should finally watch that. So I'm 19 years old, and I have the tickets booked for later in the evening. I have the brilliant idea of watching the movie illegally online on my laptop in the middle of broad daylight. Yeah, that'll really get the juices flowing. Oh my god, you know where I probably talked about this? It might have been my initial review of Halloween on this channel. Again, don't go look that up. Don't look at my old content. Don't you dare. But obviously, those conditions were not ideal. I didn't understand the vibes of the movie at all. I couldn't feel the tension and stuff. Like, I'm not enveloped by a large screen, surround sound, not even darkness, all right? It just was a mistake, but I needed the context to go see the new one. And I was like, oh, I just don't really get what all the fuss is about. How weird. Stupid, stupid, stupid. But then I'm starting my channel. It's a pandemic outside. I am living with my parents for like 3 months that summer. I am getting high every single night. Cause what else am I gonna do? And so one night, I think that I had taken an edible. I'm not sure. And I watched John Carpenter's Halloween and we clicked. Oh my god, just that opening sequence alone, I was like, oh, suddenly I understand what all the fuss is about. Being in Michael's POV and how slowly the tension is built through that oneer. Oh my god, it was perfect. Like, my parents have surround sound, they have a huge TV, and it was dark, it was late at night, everyone else had gone to bed, and I was high. Of course it was a fantastic viewing experience. Like, that's how I should have done it the first time. Oh my god, I've logged it 5 times on Letterboxd. Sometimes I watch Halloween twice in a year. But literally the first time that I logged it on Letterboxd in 2020, I gave it a perfect 5-star rating. For some reason, this is so weird, my rating has fluctuated though. Then it went down to 4.5 stars, then 4 stars, then back up to 4.5 stars, then back up to 5 stars. Need a night like this. I'm funny. So yes, obviously my frontal lobe was underdeveloped. That's my bad. Next up, we have Tim Burton's Beetlejuice. I first watched this November 11th, 11th of 2021, and I gave it 1.5 stars. I used the terms perverted and insufferable. And the weirdest thing is it seems to be made for kids. And honestly, I'm pretty sure those are things that I still agree with. I still think that the whole plot of Beetlejuice is really strange, but was my brain underdeveloped? Naturally, I rewatched the original film because Beetlejuice was coming out last year, and I discovered that it is a little bit of both. I appreciated so much more about the movie, all the practical effects. I love Catherine O'Hara to death. I think she is so funny. Potentially the funniest woman alive. I don't know. I will go insane and I will take you with me. Forget about it. But it was still a 3-star experience for me. I still didn't give the movie a heart. I still don't really like it. It is just not my kind of humor, and like I said, I just still find the whole plot line of Beetlejuice trying to marry the girl, Cynthia. Jesus died for our Cynthias. No, what's her name? I'm gonna leave that in. Lydia rhymes with Cynthia. It's weird. It makes, like, I don't laugh about that. It just makes me feel uncomfy. So I appreciate all the innovation of the film, and I definitely had more fun on my second viewing, but not enough. Still not enough. Next up, another John Carpenter. We have The Fog. The first time I watched it was in December of 2021, and this was when I was studying up to do my deep dive on John Carpenter's whole career. That is a video I can probably recommend that you go back and watch, but my first 2 deep dives of the directors with John Carpenter and Craven, unfortunately, are some of my least thorough director deep dives. I did my absolute best work probably on the deep dive of Mike Flanagan, or maybe James Wan. Actually, maybe Tim Burton. I made some other really good director deep dives. I don't really know if John Carpenter was one of them, but again, at 22 years old, this is a big year for me. I gave the movie 2.5 stars because I thought that there was great atmosphere, but a lack of substance. Then, as I do every year, last year I had my Haunted Hippie October watch list challenge, and I think that one of the tasks was to watch a John Carpenter film. It was either that or watch a movie with foggy atmosphere. That might have been it, because I think that I said that you could also watch like Silent Hill or something. Regardless, I decided to watch The Fog, and I was underdeveloped. It's still not necessarily a favorite, but I gave it 3.5 stars, gave it a heart. I really enjoy myself. I love the cast, and I really do still just watch it for the atmosphere, because even though there is such a great cast in the movie, it's not like they have a whole lot to do. Some of the interactions do feel a tad bit random. Tom Atkins and Jamie Lee Curtis hooking up, it's just like, what? But the concept of ghost pirates is so amazing. I can't believe that I didn't really like it the first time I watched it. Next up, David Cronenberg's Scanners. I feel like this is kind of an underrepresented film, but I think that I know why. And honestly, the first time that I tried to watch it, I gave it 1 star on Letterboxd, but I wish I hadn't done that because I didn't even finish it at the time. So then it's like, why did you log it then? And this was January of 2022. I thought by that time that I knew better, but alas not. I literally said that I liked the opening, but I got bored. Well, just the other day, I decided to finally watch it in full, and I think it's a little bit of both, because when I watched the movie, it made me feel like perhaps my brain is still a tad undercooked. There's a lot about David Cronenberg's work that I just don't think I'm like smart enough to understand yet. I did really well with Crimes of the Future. I do pretty well with Brandon Cronenberg's work. Caitlin Cronenberg, I think, just doesn't really have the same depth to her stuff. I think she's kind of just like, whatever, I'll get into the family business. Or maybe it's just this movie, because I did well with Crimes of the Future. I do well with The Fly. I'm due a rewatch of that one though. But I have a feeling that some of his more underrated stuff, like Scanners, maybe The Brood, I don't know if they're really gonna be for me, just because I feel like some stuff goes over my head. I thought it was decent. I just think that I'm definitely gonna be waiting several years before I reach for it again. Next up, we gotta talk about the entirety of the Evil Dead franchise. Okay, I want to say that I loved Evil Dead Rise right off the cuff, but the first time that I watched it, I gave it 3.5 stars. So to me, that doesn't mean that I love the film generally, but I put out a review at the time of that movie's release, so if you want to check it out for yourself, that's fine. That review is only a little bit over 2 years old, so I don't think I would be cringing too much at it. I know that I had a lot of positive words to say though, so there at least is that. But when we talk the original Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, we've got Evil Dead Dead, Fede Alvarez's version. Didn't like any of them the first go around. The first movie, it's also just a classic case of me not having the right conditions to watch it. And it's like, what am I thinking? I mean, okay, granted, it wasn't really my choice. I got on a video call with some friends across the pond, and I forget whose birthday it was. So I'm on a video call, and one of them is like screening the movie, but then, you know, everybody's kind of talking. The movie's kind of like not loud enough for me. It's on my computer screen. So it's not immersive. I'm not getting it. I'm like, this movie is kind of annoying, question mark. She's getting ripped by a tree? Like, holy shit, God. Then I rewatched it once and gave it a 2-star rating. I rewatched it a second time. I gave it a 2-star rating. On my 4th viewing of this film, I had seen the light. I don't know if finally my brain just reached the right temperature. I don't know if it's because I hosted a watch along and I was watching it with my audience, and I always tend to enjoy movies more that way. Maybe it's kind of a mixture of the two, but I love Evil Dead. Like, I love that entire franchise so much. I have seen the entirety of the TV show. I love that as well. The second movie, it's the same thing. Like, the first time I watch it, I give it 2 stars. I rewatch it, I give it 2.5 stars. On my 3rd viewing, I see the light, and I'm oh Jesus, I'm thirsting after Ash Williams. Can you blame me? Army of Darkness, I've loved since day one, and I don't know why. I guess it's one of the most broad versions of the Evil Dead in terms of like comedy, and there's definitely less gore, and it's more just hijinks. So my pronouns are now she, bitch, please and thank you. If you go back and watch my deep dive of the original versus remake of Evil Dead, I have a lot of complaints about the writing and how expositional the dialogue is, and I just didn't have enough of an appreciation for how balls to the wall these movies are, and that definitely comes with time and just watching a million more horror movies. But now it's so much easier to appreciate the movies for what they are, because they really do stand out against literally the entire rest of the genre. Fede Alvarez is such a fucking freak. Like, I am such a huge fan of his now. Once again, the first time I watched it, 2 stars. It took me till my 4th viewing to love the film, and I still only give it 4 stars. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, finally with Evil Dead Rise, this is my favorite movie of the entire franchise, at least as of my last rewatch. The first 2 times I saw it, because I watched it twice in theaters, so I didn't let enough time pass, I don't think, but the first 2 times I gave it 3.5 stars, and then my last viewing I gave it a perfect rating. Oh my god, my second review, when I said I went for a second time just to watch the title card again, somebody commented the title card sequences on YouTube. Some people wouldn't know a joke if it punched them in the fucking face. Anyway, what a journey that I have been on, but this is why I say that I think it is worth it to watch some movies at least 4 or 5 times, even if you don't like them, because now I am so head over heels in love with the franchise. Don't know why it took me so long, but now I have another franchise that is so deeply entrenched in my heart, and there is more joy to be experienced. Like, it was so worth going on that journey, you know? Next up, we have Pet Sematary. This is one that I really did not understand the hype for when I first watched it, and I wish that the first time I watched it I had logged it on Letterboxd. I don't know when that was. It must have been early 2020 or something, or maybe even before I started my channel, because the first time I logged it was 2022, and it was a rewatch, and this was when I was kind of deeply entrenched in my original versus remake era. So I did a deep dive and I did a comparison to the 2019 remake, the one that we all forgot about. I still gave the movie a heart, but at a 2.5 star rating, that's obviously not very good. I rewatched it 2 years ago, and what'll it be? It's a little bit of both. My score only went up to 3 stars. I am just not really a fan of the original Pet Sematary, nor am I of the remake. My favorite movie of the franchise is actually Pet Sematary 2. When Mary Lambert just got to do whatever the hell she wanted, it was like, yes, she went cuckoo bananas with it. I think Cody Leach just did an entire dedicated video to that movie talking about why it is the most disturbing horror movie of all time. And I think that when I become a parent, that movie is definitely gonna hit in a much more depressing and sinister way. Absolutely. But as it is, the filmmaking and the acting and everything, like, that movie, it's just corny to me. And corny movies have their place in my heart, but I feel like for subject matter that disturbing, I actually think that the tone of the remake was better. better. Just the tone, because that movie stinks booty. Also, after reading the book, the adaptations just can't really compare because of how much of the book takes place inside of Lewis's head. So much of Stephen King's work is like that, where the adaptations just are never going to fully work. It's the same problem with it. So trying to adapt that story is just a losing game. That's why Pet Sematary 2 is the best one. Now, how about The Craft, which I also watched for the first time at the ripe age of 22. I've always given it a heart, but the first time I watched it, I gave it 3 stars. Okay, I was very, very disappointed by the final act. What the movie was building to, you would think that these girls would be learning the lesson that they need to be working together in a positive way. And I understand that ultimately the message ended up about power and it had very little to do with womanhood or friendship, but that is so easily what it could have been. I still hate the ending of this movie. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a little bit of both. I have now watched the movie 3 times and I still yearn for what could have been, for the resolution with these girls. I told you guys that I swore that on my next viewing I would stop yearning, but I just don't think that that's true. And that's a huge reason why I am one of the only people on earth that enjoyed The Craft legacy. Like, why isn't that movie catered to me specifically? Ugh, and why is my neck is itchy right now? I think I'm getting a rash. It's either that or a spider bite. Oh, we've been seeing a lot of spiders in our apartment. No, but seriously, I think that I'm like getting hives on my neck right here. If my neck continues to grow red, just mind your business. Okay, next up we have Leprechaun, the iconic first film of Jennifer Aniston. Are you kidding me? Leprechaun. First watched this in February of 2022, only give it 2 stars, and I said how this spawned an 8-movie franchise I have yet to understand. And was I 12? Was I 12? Did I just not understand the genius of Leprechaun? I mean, no, that is still something that I have yet to understand. I decided to revisit it because it was either last year or 2023. No, I think it was 2024. I decided, okay, I'm gonna watch the whole thing, and for St. Patrick's Day, I'm ranking the franchise. And I did it. I didn't give up halfway through the second movie. That's what happened to me the first time. But also the first time that I tried to do that, I started the franchise and then my grandpa died. And I was like, I'm grieving. I'm not gonna watch all these shitty movies. No, thank you. Just a fun bit of haunted hippie lore for you. Those movies stink butt. I don't fully remember my ranking. I think it would be shocking to you though, because the one that I think is my favorite, I don't think you'd be ready to hear. Next up, we've got to talk about the It miniseries from 1990. The first time that I watched this film, once again, in college, I made bad decisions, okay? I watched it on a laptop. I had this, I still have it actually, this portable Blu-ray player, and that was like one of my necessities for my dorm room. My parents like helped me pick out, you know, a handful of things for me to take with me. And I was like, I need a Blu-ray player that attaches to my computer. To be fair, they provide you with the desk and the bed, so your parents are kind of like, you know, well, what do you need? Not a lot, but that Blu-ray player was one of them. And I was seeing this guy kind of casually who did not like me, but I think that he kind of felt bad, so we spent a good amount of time together, and we decided to watch the original It together, because also, mind you, my freshman year of college, that was when It 2017 came out. That was a huge deal, so I was like, I really want to watch the original. Do you want to watch it with me? And he actually did. Like, we spent 3 hours together watching that on my laptop, and by the end, we just were like, what the fuck did we just watch? Like, what was this? Coming hot off of seeing It 2017 in theaters and being 18 years old and thinking, well, that's what horror should look like, obviously. The modern standard, when I'm alive. Like, that's how it should be. And then watching the 1990 version, I was like, the hell is this? What is this bullshit? So really didn't like it. Over the years, I've watched the movie 2 more times, and I have determined that mostly my brain was underdeveloped, but I think it's like just a little bit of both. While I only give the movie 3 stars now, apparently, I mean, I haven't rewatched it in 2 years, I still really enjoy it. Like, it's still such a comforting viewing experience. It makes me nostalgic for a time that I was not even alive in, but I can just imagine, like, everybody gathered around their TVs for this weekend or whatever, and then everyone talking about it together the next day, and oh my god, what is gonna happen in part 2 tonight? Just seems like that was a ball. I would have loved to have been around for that, and so recreating it for myself these days, I enjoy it. I do really like the miniseries. But a lot of that made for TV stuff was very cornball. I finally watched the Mick Garris adaptation of The Stand, and it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, it's a good adaptation, but it's really, really corny. So pros and cons. Anyway, next up, we are finally breaking into the early 2000s. We gotta talk about James Wan's Dead Silence. God, that man is just obsessed with dolls. The first time I watched it was April 4th of 2021. I don't remember how I watched it because I don't think that I have it on physical media. If I did, there's a very solid chance that I gave it away because I gave it 1 star the first time that I watched it. I just said Dead Silence walked so Insidious could run. That feels vaguely true, but then like I said, I did a deep dive on James Wan's career, so I was rewatching all of his movies. Couldn't skip out on Dead Silence, obviously, so rewatched it a little less than 2 years ago now. And what was it? Was it bad or was I 12? Well, my 1 star rating jumped all the way up to 2.5 star rating. I think that movie is bad. I know that a lot of people have a lot of love for it and they claim that it's really underrated and stuff. I love that truth for you guys. For me, absolutely not. And I literally even mentioned Night of the Living Dummy in my review because I was like, I still think that Slappy did it better. And I actually mean that with my whole chest. I think that I would enjoy rewatching the 2015 Goosebumps movie with Jack Black more than I would enjoy rewatching Dead Silence. Sorry, I'm sorry about it. I know that there are a lot of people that really ride for that film. It's generally not super well rated, but people have a lot of love for Mary's story and everything in it. I get it. Like, I think that it's a pretty good story. I just think that the movie is bad. Next up, we have The Grudge, and unfortunately not Ju-on The Grudge. I didn't watch that for the first time until literally this year. I'm talking about the 2004 remake with Sarah Michelle Gellar, okay? Tell me why the first time I watched this movie was 4/20 of 2021. Why wasn't I watching Dazed and Confused yet? 1.5 star rating, very abysmal. And I watched that on my DVD, and I have always owned the unrated director's cut, so I've never even seen the theatrical cut. And something tells me I wouldn't want to, because I revisited that this year after I finally watched Ju-on The Grudge, and that rating got bumped up to a 2-star rating. Full transparency, by the way, I didn't like Ju-on either. I think that I just don't like a lot of what goes on in J-horror. I'm really sorry to say. I have a huge appreciation for it. Japan is so high up on my bucket list because I want to go and like explore the culture, like the history of horror there. But a lot of these movies just are not for me. And obviously this was an American remake, so boo, tomato. But yeah, that movie's just bad. Next up, dun dun dun, we have 28 Days Later. I watched this back in 2020 and it was prior to me being very regular on Letterboxd. That didn't really start till 2021, unfortunately. I think that I had talked about it on my channel at some point. I never gave it a dedicated review, but at some point, I know that I talked about the fact that I just didn't get it, that it looked like it was filmed on a toaster oven, that I really did not like the vibe that the military men brought to the table, but then you grow up and you realize that that's part of the point. The monsters that men become during war and how they're even worse than the zombie people. So yeah, guess what? I was 12. My brain was underdeveloped. I was young. I was dumb. I love 28 Days Later now. But you know this, if you caught my review of 28 Years Later, I already spoke about this at length, so I shall move on. We still have a lot of movies to get into today, actually. Next up, we gotta talk about The Strangers. The Strangers, baby. I watched this for the first time April 27th of 2021. I gave it 2 stars. The only thing that I liked were the technical elements of the film and also that it had strong characters. But in general, apparently I felt like there was so much nothing that happened in this movie. It took way too long to get going, so much waiting around, ending feels really anticlimactic. Then last year, as we are all so excited for the new Strangers, let's call it what it is, okay? It was a remake. I rewatched the original, and then I finally watched Pray at Night, which slaps, by the way, and my rating jumps up to a 2.5 star rating. And this bummed me out because I really thought that I was gonna like the movie more my second go around, but I guess I can't get over my distaste of James. James is definitely a rat fuck bitch, if you think about it, actually. Strong words. I just don't like that movie. I just don't think it's very good. And I think part of it is that it's not very memorable. That must be the case because I can't even remember why I don't really like it. It's just never hit that hard for me. Home invasions are generally not for me, but I remember enjoying The Purge when I was younger, and I love Hush, so it's probably just a problem with The Strangers. I don't know. Maybe on my next go around, things will be different. Next up, we gotta talk about Drag Me to Hell. All right, another Sam Raimi film that I just did not get the first go around, which would be July 15th of 2021. Tell me why my review kind of seems good though. I only give it 2 stars and I said just hilariously bad, do not watch sober, but also do not watch it while eating, but watch it. So I'm giving it 2 stars, no heart, hilariously bad, but I'm recommending it. Like, what was I on? Well, I was on drugs. I probably like watched it high. But once again, I just was not yet on board with Sam Raimi's wild mind. I didn't understand what he was doing yet at the time, but now he is like one of the most inspirational filmmakers to me. I want to make stuff that is as crazy and disgusting and as fun as Evil Dead, as Drag Me to Hell. So yes, obviously I was 12, but it took a couple tries. I rewatched it in October of 2023 and I only give it 3 stars. And then finally last year, a little less than a year ago, 4.5, I have seen the light. And thank God for that. It's probably my favorite Sam Raimi movie of all time, but I also haven't seen his Spider-Man movies in forever, so jury is out on that one. Next up, we have Seed of Chucky, and I do have an entire dedicated review on this channel, which once again, don't you dare go watch it. But I actually first saw this movie when I was in 6th grade. I think that I have told this story before, and recently actually, so I don't know what I'm doing telling it again. The Spark Notes, I was at a friend's house, their parents didn't control what they watched. They were watching Seed of Chucky. I just had no business intaking the CG sperm traveling through the fallopian tubes, seeing Jennifer Tilly birth 2 babies with those squelching ass sound effects. I mean, disgusting. My young mind could not rationalize this film. I was not having a good time. And then when I rewatched it for my Child's Play series on my channel, once again, I don't think I was ready for it. But it's much like Evil Dead, just the general Sam Raimi vibe. Once you watch so much other horror and you realize just how unique Evil Dead is, Drag Me to Hell, Seed of Chucky, you appreciate it for being one of one. I think that that is a movie I'm gonna enjoy more with every rewatch. The last time I watched it was almost 3 years ago, but my score jumped up to 3.5 stars, and I was even kind of mean about it. I said, this movie slaps, go cry about it. I love Seed of Chucky. I have not obviously watched the franchise in several years now, which is sad, but if I recall, I think that I ranked it as like my 3rd or 4th favorite of the franchise. Or no, maybe it only got bumped up to like number 5 because I love so many movies of that franchise. I think it goes Child's Play 2, Bride of Chucky, maybe even like Child's Play 3. You know what? The remake might be higher up there now. Yeah, I think that Seed of Chucky is at my number 5, but I love it. I love that movie. It's so stupid. It's so over the top. It's crazy. I'm into it. I'm gonna give it a rest for now because there will be more installments of this series. I didn't realize how long that I would talk about each movie, but that always tends to happen. I have at least like 30 other movies on this list, and most of which I have not gone and revisited yet, but it includes movies like Don't Breathe, Jigsaw, The Cabin in the Woods, Paranormal Activity 3, kind of random, oh, The Human Centipede, Rob Zombie's Halloweens, The Loved Ones. I purposefully saved The Exorcist and Friday the 13th, Rocky Horror Picture Show, The Mummy from 1959. Like, we still have a lot to get into, a lot of redemption rewatches still yet to happen. So if you want to follow me on my journey of reevaluating movies that I thought were bad when I was little, then obviously click subscribe if you haven't already. The notification bell will be your best friend. You won't miss it. Now, if you really need more content from me and you're new here, then like I said, you can check out the other videos in this series. Oh, my candle went out. When did that happen? Anyway, were these horror movies good or was I 12? We had a ball with that, but I also do reviews of all the new horror movies that come out. I do a monthly recap, and I've been talking ad nauseum about all the director deep dives I used to do. I also did solo deep dives of single films. I did deep dives on originals versus remakes. There is so much content on this channel. I'm also a gamer. Like, I game a little bit. I just finished Alien Isolation recently, so that whole playlist is available. And then I have a second channel where I primarily talk about physical media. If you couldn't tell, I'm a whore for physical media. So I talk about that all the time. I also vlog over there. And I have a Patreon where I have a podcast with my dad. We release 1 to 2 episodes every single month. I talk about all the juicy behind the scenes stuff of working in the movie industry over there. I also have a series called I Finally Watched, where I finally watch movies like The Shawshank Redemption, The Notebook, just insane classics that somehow I haven't seen. I'm always catching up on stuff. So depending on which tier you join, you get a bonus video every single week. But more than anything, I really just hope that you enjoyed this video and that I catch you in the next one. Bye!